Hello guys, welcome everyone to another build video. This time is for my 1 bar decay for Cyrodiil, small scale as well as Battleground. I tested all three and it works extremely well. So right here, the attribute points, you can see I have put 42 points into health, 22 points into Magicka. For the sets, I am using 3 different sets and a mythic. So for my 5-piece set, I am using the Basalt Blooded Warrior that you can get from the Infinite Archive. I am playing it over the body as my heavy and medium pieces. So for Basalt, I am playing the chest in heavy reinforced, the belt in light in pen, the legs in heavy reinforced, the feet in heavy reinforced, and 1-piece amulet, arcane, Magicka enchantment. For my monster set, I am playing the classic Bloodspawn, so my head is in heavy reinforced and my shoulder is in heavy reinforced as well. I have 1 piece of trainee that I put over the hands in medium in pen. And finally, for my 3-piece set to complement this, I am playing with Potentates that I play over the front bar with my restoration staff, decisive, and 1 ring arcane enchantment with Magicka recovery. And my mythic is, no surprise, Oakensoul that I also play as arcane with Magicka recovery enchant. I will show you the traits in detail. So my stuff is decisive. Every time I get ultimate, which will be all the time, I get a 55% to get another ultimate. So this weapon trait will pretty much just proc all the time. As you see, for my body pieces, all the big pieces are in reinforced, all the small and medium pieces are in pen. And for the jewelry, I play arcane, all 3, with Magicka recovery. If you don't feel like comfortable with the low recovery on paper, like with the important thing is on paper, you can infuse 1 or 2 jewelries. But since I'm playing as a Nord, I have slightly lesser maximum Magicka as if I would be a Breton or a Dark Elf, for example, or even an Argonian. So I decided to stick with my jewelry on arcane and push my Magicka a little bit higher. For the enchants, I am playing with tri-stat enchants on all the body pieces. And just normal Deus Magicka restores a little bit health on the restoration staff. You can also play with weapon and spell damage to get your healing up a little bit. Now, for what the sets actually do. Potentates is a 3-piece bonus as I play over jewelry and weapons, and it reduces my damage taken from players by 3%, so it's a mitigation set, as well as reducing the cost of my ultimate abilities by 15%. This is going to be important for the working of the build and how it all comes together. Bloodspawn is a set that can be found in Spindelclutch. It's a dungeon which is part of the base game. So I think it's Spindelclutch 2, you can get Bloodspawn. Spindelclutch 1, sorry, you can get Bloodspawn in Veteran from the end boss. So it gives us 1 line of stamina recovery, and whenever we take damage, we have a 6% chance, which is allowed with all the dots. You will just be constantly taking damage, and this monster set, when you are under heavy pressure, will be up on cooldown. It will give you a juicy 13 ultimate, as well as 3k Magicka physical and spell resistance for 5 seconds, which can be procced every 5 seconds. So this set can basically be up on cooldown. It adds to our tankiness as well to our sustain, being a DK. The centerpiece of this build, the Basalt Blooded Warrior set from Infinite Archive, it gives us Magicka recovery, max health, as well as weapon and spell damage. Uh, all three set pieces are like really, 4 set pieces are really interesting. And the 5 pieces, when casting an Earthen Heart ability, it grants you Rock Stance for 10 seconds. While on your primary weapon, you gain Molten Stance, granting you Major Heroism, generating 3 ultimate every 1.3 seconds. And that's when we can already stop reading. The other passive is when you bar swap, you get weapon, you get Obsidian Stance, and you increase your damage, shield, and healing by 14%. But this part of the set we will not use. We will just play it over front bar since we're using Oakensoul and just enjoy the almost free Major Heroism, which is why I decided to go with this set. Given that it's in Infinite Archive, you can pretty much also just play it over any armor you want to have, like heavy, medium, light, everything is available, which is quite handy. And for the last piece, it's Oakensoul. This is like pretty much most people should know it. It's a ring that stops you from bar swapping, and it just gives you a lot of passive buffs. The most interesting being for this build, minor protection, minor mending, minor courage, as well as minor heroism. That's the one that interests us the most, as well as major sorcery and brutality and major, where is it? Weapon, armor buff. Major resolve. For the skills we are using to proc our Basalt set is the Cinderstorm. It costs us almost nothing, as you see, even without Magicka cost reduction glyphs. It just costs us 372 per second, which is also good because we refresh this every 10 seconds, so the refresh is almost free. You just have to like calculate that you just reduce this recovery by more or less 300, since this will always be up and draining you Magicka slowly. But with the build, and I will showcase it in a very hectic fight, you will see that you almost don't see the cost of Cinderstorm for all the benefits you will have from it. So as I said, we use this to proc the Major Heroism from Basalt, and the rest is pretty much always what I use on my other Oakensoul builds, except for Nightblade, is Radiating, Regen, Echoing Vigor, Race Against Time for the CC removal, Blessings of Protection for the Burst Heal and Minor Resolve, and my ultimate is Life Giver, the Restoration Stuff ultimate. I tested several versions of this. I tested with Magma Shell, I tested with Barrier, being in a group. Barrier is quite effective being in a group, especially if you play the Barrier that gives you Magicka as well as ultimate back. However, you need to be in a group, so I play this build when I'm 9 times out of 10 when I'm solo, when we are heavily outnumbered, pretty much when I can just rely on myself for surviving and not have another co-healer with me to rely on for surviving. I just play with this build, and in these scenarios Life Giver has shown the best success in keeping myself and other people alive. First, because it's just so cheap, as you see, it's 150 ultimate, that goes up very fast. And you can pretty much just use it on cooldown when you're in outnumbered situations. It will keep yourself and the people around you alive for quite a while. For our champion points, the green one is pretty much personal preferences, aside from Russioneer, which is quite nice. But all the other things, it's just personal preference, it doesn't really matter. For the blue CPs, I'm playing with all defensive CPs, so Duelist Rebuff, Ironclad, Resilience, and Unassailable. So it's pretty much single target damage taken from Gengar and Nightblade, direct damage as well for Gengar and Nightblade, Resilience, Crystal Resistance, and Unassailable is a area of effect. So that's pretty much for bombers or almost any damage in Cyrodiil. For my recipes, I am using Survival Instincts, which helps with all the status effects, since Arcanist is still pretty much played a lot. You will have a lot of status effects, and then I just take it's 25% total. Roll, dodge, block, mitigate, cost reduction. I play Fortified for some base armor, Pain's Refuge for some mitigation, and Celerity just for the movement speed. And then once again, my attributes are 42 into health, 22 into Magicka. And for this build, I am also playing as a vampire. We're using the Vampire Stage 3 at the moment. This might change in the future depending on how the patch notes go. From what I've seen from this very day, I will probably still play with the Stage 3 just to have, this can sound a bit confusing, but just on the DK to have my ultimate be a little bit higher, still benefit from the damage reduction, because as a DK, the higher my ultimate is, the more resources I get. And for the Mundus, I am playing with the ritual just to pump up my healing. If you're learning or if you struggle with sustain, you can also just go with the atronach and get your base recovery up. I will show you my attributes points. As you see, here I have the first line of Basalt active for 4 seconds, as well as the heroism up. And the buff is refreshable even if it hasn't run out. So these are my stats, my base stats out of the Cyrodiil. As you can see, my reg is quite low compared to my other builds. My spell and physical resistances are okay-ish. This is without Bloodspawn proc. With Bloodspawn, these will go up to almost 37 and 40k resistances, so you will be way over the cap. And that's pretty much